Now China and India are building about 650 coal-fired power plants.
Right.
The combined CO2 emissions of those 650 power plants is 5 times the savings of the Kyoto Accord.
That's right.
So when I look at that, I think to myself,
and you think it's
this is
game
hopeless.
over? It's hopeless.
Well,
I tell you, the latest information that we're getting on climate change suggests that we better think twice about that, because just one example, what's happening in the Arctic. And Canada, my country, is an Arctic country and huge swaths of territory in the Arctic, so we pay a lot of attention to what's happening up north. The Greenland ice cap right at the moment, the second largest body of ice in the world, is melting at 220 to 250 cubic kilometers a year now. That's 200 times the amount of water that Los Angeles, the entire city of Los Angeles, consumes on an annual basis. And it appears from 2 independent studies that with 2 different methodologies that rate of melting has doubled in the last 10 years. Things are happening very fast in terms of global climate. We all need to get on board and deal with this project.
And do you believe that if you were to see some kind of concerted program of alternate energy, to tackle the issue of energy and climate change, the results would come in fast enough to make a difference to some of these trends you're describing?
I think we could make some difference, yes. And I think one thing we should be trying to do now, for instance, on the climate change side, and climate change and energy are tightly coupled issues, as we've discussed. We need to develop a suite of energy technologies and technologies to deal with carbon dioxide, such as carbon sequestration, that will hold carbon dioxide concentrations to around 450 parts per million in the atmosphere, which is around 70 parts per million higher than they are right now. Now, we're increasing it somewhere around 2.5 to 3 parts per million a year, so we'll be there in 30 or 40 years. We need to get cracking on this problem now. Now, the consensus among scientists is that if we go much above 450, we could be into a climate regime where you get kind of self-reinforcing change, that it might, in a sense, be too late to really stop major climate change. That could...
Can't we, when I hear about these, as I said, there is a certain level of despair or fatalism that sets in because the trends seem so advanced. And so one question I have is, can we invent our way out of this? I mean, at the end of the day, this is how humanity we've always needed more energy as we've grown and prospered, and we've always found ways to invent our way out of the problem rather than reducing our consumption of energy. Mm-hmm. Is that solution available?
You put it exactly right. But I think we've always focused on the invention. Now, I happen to be an enormous supporter of science and technology and also believe that the human species is the most innovative and creative species that's ever existed. And we have always invented our way out in the past. What we're going to have to do in the future, though, is recognize that there are really 2 things we have to do. One is invent as fast as we can and be as creative as possible. And the second is we have to actually reduce a little bit. We're going to have to constrain probably the material throughput within our economies, perhaps reduce rates of economic growth in already very wealthy countries so that other parts of the world can grow faster. And these are going to be changes in sort of the psychology of humankind that are going to be very profound. Whether we can do it or not, I'm not sure. But that's the challenge in front of us.
Well, there we have it. New Year resolution for a cosmic tightening of belts. Thank you, Thomas Homer-Dixon.
Thank you.
Pleasure.